Have you ever been in one of those arguments? You know the one. You lay out all the facts, all the evidence, and the other person, they just don't budge. Not an inch. It's maddening, right? Well, today we're going to dive deep into the architecture of that moment. We're going to explore why our most deeply held political beliefs are so incredibly resistant to change.
So let's just get right to it. This is the big question, isn't it? We operate under this assumption that if we just present the right information, logic is going to win out. But what if that whole idea is just wrong? Let's find out.
You know, this quote from our source material really just nails it. It suggests that political belief isn't about a lack of information at all. It's about something much, much deeper. It's actually rooted in our emotional and social survival.
Okay, so for our first section, we're going to tackle what we're calling the myth of evidence. We're going to completely deconstruct this idea that a belief is just some kind of error waiting for a fact checker to come along and fix it.
I mean, this is the default setting for so many of us, right? We see a belief we don't agree with, and our first instinct is, that's just wrong. Let me fix it for you with some data. But what we're about to see is that we are totally missing the point. We're trying to correct an error without understanding the job that belief is actually doing for that person.
And that brings us to this core concept, belief as adaptation. So instead of seeing a belief as a bug in someone's mental software, think of it as a feature. It's a psychological tool that helps people navigate a really difficult world by giving them stability, a community, and a sense of who they are. It's not a mistake, it's a survival strategy.
All right, let's keep building on this. If belief is an adaptation, what is it adapting to? Well, it almost always comes down to these really fundamental human needs, things like dignity, identity, and pride.
And this is where things get really interesting. See, when people feel like their own progress, economically or socially, has just hit a brick wall, when the system isn't delivering, they don't just give up. They start looking for other ways to feel value. And that's when symbolic power, often channeled through a leader, becomes incredibly attractive.
This slide just lays out that trade-off perfectly. On one side, you've got the classic promise of society, dignity through real, tangible opportunity. But when that feels out of reach, this whole other path opens up. Dignity through a leader, someone who offers you a sense of moral superiority, symbolic wins, a way to get your self-respect back without your financial situation ever changing. So once a leader's story and a person's own identity get tangled up like this, any attack on that leader stops being just a political disagreement. It feels personal. It feels like a direct shot at your own dignity, your own self-worth. This identity becomes a kind of psychological shelter. I mean, think about it. The world is complex, it's confusing. This offers a simple, clear framework. It's us versus them. It's good versus evil. It's a way to make sense of all the chaos.
So here you have this belief system, and it's providing this incredibly valuable shelter. It's giving you a sense of who you are in a crazy world. It becomes your anchor.
And from inside that shelter, a fact that contradicts your belief, that's not just a piece of data. It's a hurricane trying to tear down your house. It's a direct threat to that stable sense of self that you've worked so hard to build.
So that brings us to this really fascinating idea. If this whole system isn't running on facts, what's its operating system? Well, the source material calls it an emotionally rational system.
Now let's be super clear about this. This is not irrationality. It's a different kind of rationality. It's a system of logic that's just playing a different game. The main goal isn't to be factually correct, it's to stay psychologically and socially okay.
So in this system, the priorities just get flipped. Does the story hold together and make me feel good? That's way more important than if it's 100% accurate. Does believing this keep me in my tribe? That's more important than checking the sources. Because, let's be honest, the social cost of changing your mind, of getting kicked out of your group, that's just too high a price to pay.
And you can see how this plays out in the real world. This table shows what's called the asymmetry of scrutiny. Basically, when things go wrong, the cause is always external. It's someone else's fault. But when things go right, even small symbolic things, all the credit is internalized. It's all because of the leader. This isn't some grand conspiracy. It's just how the system protects itself.
Okay, so if belief is doing all this heavy lifting, providing identity, dignity, community, you can start to see why just throwing a contrary fact at someone isn't just ineffective, it's actually counterproductive. This is when facts become threats.
And this right here, this is the heart of it. For a fact to even have a chance of getting through, a person has to feel psychologically and socially safe. If they feel attacked or threatened, the walls go up instantly, and that fact is just going to bounce right off. So here's exactly how that backfire effect works.
step by step. You confront someone with a fact. Instantly, they feel like their place in their community is at risk. Their brain's defense mechanisms just kick into high gear. And the result? The original belief doesn't just survive, it actually retreats, hardens, and becomes even stronger than it was before.
And we can't forget about the massive social pressure here. I mean, imagine you start to have some doubts. The cost of leaving your group, facing ridicule, isolation, maybe even losing your friends and family, that can feel so much higher than the cost of just staying put and quietly ignoring the things that don't add up.
So if head-on confrontation doesn't work, how do these powerful belief systems ever actually end? Well, the answer is surprisingly quiet. It's not some dramatic collapse. It's what the source calls the slow fade to indifference.
And this is maybe the most profound takeaway of all. Belief systems don't usually end with a bang, with some big aha moment. They erode. Over time, from sheer exhaustion and the quiet weight of all the contradictions, the passion just fades. The support might still be there on the surface, but the energy, the fire, is gone. It ends not with a fight, but with a shrug.
Which leaves us with this final, massive question. If attacking beliefs with facts is a dead end, what actually works? How do we start to build bridges across these divides? Not by trying to tear down the shelters people have built for themselves, but maybe by creating conditions so safe that we can all afford to step outside and look at the world together. And really, that's the challenge for all of us, isn't it?